inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no. Real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Yay! Guess what, people? We are back, and I got a good one for you now. This is another new one to the podcast. You guys know I went to a conference earlier, and I met this woman there, and she was off the chain. The energy, the connection, it was just robust from the very beginning. And so I'm super duper excited to have Miss Fitima Miller in the studio with us today to talk about whatever's going to come from her, because I know that whatever it is going to be golden. So today it's all about her and her life and what you can learn from it. You want to tell them hi, darling?
Hey guys! I gave him the spigot fingers off.
Yes, you know what, girl, you are not the only one who has busted out the spirit fingers. We've had a so for those of you all that get to see it on YouTube, yeah, we already see that's another level of connection right there. So look, you guys know what's going down. Season 1, you got a lot of foundational information about what you needed in order to get yourself in a position to build. Now, the question is, where are you going with that? Because now it's time to elevate. You know, when you keep doing what you're doing, you don't want to keep revolving, going in a circle. You want to evolve. You should constantly be going up a degree or two. Fitima, I don't know what's on your mind. I don't know what you're thinking, but keep that nugget in mind because you've elevated a lot. You know me, I perused you. I looked at you a little bit. But before we get into your story, I love the guests to get a feel for who's here with me. So just tell them anything, you know, personally about you. Let's warm them up to you. Who are you, lady?
Oh, well, cool. Well, you know, I am, first of all, I'm a mother of 3 and a woman of God. So I'm a very spiritual person. So, you know, I put God before everything, and he's been my rock and my savior. I have 3 beautiful children, 14, 11, and 6. I've been married to my handsome husband for 20 years. I love him to pieces, my high school sweetheart. I have a 4th degree black belt in the martial arts and Taekwondo. So, and what else? And I was also a military police officer in the United States Air Force. So that's kind of like who I am. I'm like a badass, but at the same time, too, I love business and success. So I can have a sweet side, and also have like this hardcore side, too. So
you look, you're in the right place because that's what we also have in common. very faith driven. Definitely know that I could not have done what I've done on my own. No 4th degree black belts, but I did study Shotokan and Jiu-Jitsu. See, so you just never know these little bitty things. You know, sometimes when it comes to business, one of the biggest mistakes women make is being so anxious. We just go in for the sale. And sometimes it's these little bitty things that connect us
That's right.
that give that know, like, and trust factor. So I learned some more about you today, and I got a chance to see you and your husband working together. And so that was awesome too. You know, that's another possibility that a lot of you that are chiming in need to see, because I also work with my husband. He wasn't at the conference with me, but I like that. So we also got 2 sisters that are badasses, that are bosses, but yet and still we've endured. And you got 20 years and I've got 12 years with mine. So
that's right. Hey, at least you made it past 3.
Hello, because nowadays they not making it, are they?
Okay, past 6 months. All right, so I'm good.
They're like, did I miss the 90-day mark to, you know?
Exactly. So look, once you get past the 90-day threshold, we cooking.
Absolutely. So also now tell them, who are you as a business owner? What do you do?
Well, I'm a business growth strategist, so I help women implement different strategies inside their business and different products and services to actually expand their business. So if you are a woman and you have just like a book, you know, I'm like, let's talk about some other products and services so we can actually expand on your profit margin. Also, as a success coach, I focus on the mindset, just like you all, because it's so important. No business owner can be successful unless they focus on their mindset. Also, as a transformational speaker, I take that mindset coaching on a platform. So I travel across the globe and I speak to women across. And also I've been kind of, you know, men like, Fatima, why don't you speak to me too? But I would just say I speak to everyone as a transformational speaker, you know, to put them in the right place. I don't call myself a motivational speaker, particularly because I believe people that motivate you, you kind of still sit down after the audience, or when you go home, you know, you're still not implementing action. So as a transformational speaker, I haven't done my job unless I get you to take action, get your butt off the couch. I'm an author of my first book, so I plan to write many more, but right now we're just gonna focus on that one. And that's, you know, and an entrepreneur. So I run 2 other companies. I have a Women's Success Academy, and I also do some other things that I partner up with other people in their businesses. So that's kind of like who I am. So
I absolutely love it. And you guys heard what she said. She's not a motivational speaker. She's a transformational speaker. What we said in the beginning, it's time to elevate. So I don't care where you are in your business, elevation should always be a part of the recipe for where you're going.
That's right.
And so here you are, you know, you're doing so much. Where did this drive even come from for you to do what you're doing?
Well, that's a good question. My dad, he owned a martial arts school for 30 years, and he put me in martial arts at the age of 4. And so I saw my dad struggle inside his business as we grew up inside the school. Me, my brother, and my sister, we grew up inside the martial arts school. And so here I am at my age with 23 years in the martial art. And at 14, my dad said, hey, Fatima, you know, you need to start considering doing your own business. He said, you know, he saw the struggles of business. I saw when my dad was inside his martial arts school and the lights weren't even on. You know, when everything happened in life, when the real estate market hit 2008, people stopped paying their gym membership. And so, and that's how we ate, and that's how we survived off teaching martial art classes. So when people weren't coming to the gym, what were we going to do? And around that time, you know, I'm like, wow, like this is when I realized that business was something I need to start considering, because we needed to implement cash right then. So, but just, I learned a lot from my dad over the 35 years that I've been on this earth. He's taught me everything that I know about business, the struggles, the heartache. And when he pushed me to go into business at 14 to open up my own cleaning company, I kept asking him, Dad, how do I make money? And I'm out there trying to make coins in the backyard. Like, how do you spend money and stuff like that? He's like, no, Fatima, you got to implement something. You got to do something. So I'm like, you know, he was like, look, I'm not about to keep buying things for you. You got to figure it out. So at 14, I started my first business and found a little bit of success there. And I'm like, man, this is how money is exchanged, because I was very concerned how I was going to live. My biggest fear at 14 August was being poor and broken without. And so that haunted me. I'm like, I don't want to be without. So at 14, I went into business for myself and started cleaning the houses in my neighborhood. And that's how I learned about how money was exchanged. And so, yeah, that was how I came into business.
Now, see, chills, like literal chills. And see, this is how I felt when I met you, to the degree, and I know people heard it even in the beginning, to the degree that sometimes I kind of just got to pause, But number one, I want to just show another parallel. And I love that, because what your father said is I'm going to implement legacy. And I love that. My daughter's 13 years old right now. And I don't care if it's a bag of chips every time you pass a store or a pair of tennis shoes every time you go to the mall. And we're in that same place. I'm in that same place with her right now. And so she has a knack for fashion. And I'm like, baby girl, all these little kids that's running around here. So for her birthday, yeah, she got some of those things that she wanted, which, don't get me wrong, she wanted this gift too, but we got her material, sewing machine. You know, take this creativity, go out there, wear your stuff, let it be known that you can make it. And I'm like, baby, you don't even understand what you have your hands on, because mama's going to make sure that you price it properly based on the investment to get the material and to do all of these things, because we don't have to wait, ladies.
That's right. Exactly right.
We don't have to wait. And so I love the fact that that fire was put inside of you. But nevertheless, if you didn't figure it out until later, that's cool. I actually started my first business as a hairstylist when I was a sophomore in high school, because I just had a dad that was not going to pay that kind of money to get my hair done. But I can't go to school looking like a fool.
That's right.
And so I learned to do my own hair, and I immediately got that swag of, oh, you want me to do your hair too?
That's right.
This is how much it's going to cost. But even with all of these beautiful points, let's dig into something. You said that your biggest concern at 14 years old was being poor, whether or not you were going to have money. And that's something that, even though it was something you dealt with at 14, there are a lot of women in business who are operating from that scarcity mindset right now. And it's a recipe for disaster in business. And so wherever you want to take that, I think that's a really good focal point for us to talk about. You know, on one hand, I know it gave you drive.
Right.
To be like, I got to get this money. But what did that look like? Because I know you realize you had to deal with some mindset work about money mindset, manifestation, abundance, knowing that you deserve, that God was going to bless you. So let's talk about the transitions that you went through from 14 to where you are now, because you're a boss and you have a commanding presence. And it's like women that want you, they either know that they're supposed to work with you and they're going to cough up the money, or they're not. And if they don't, even if they're in your region, it's not that you don't care, but it's about them needing to know their value so that they can understand the value that you've placed on yourself in order to be able to work with you. So anywhere you want to go with all of that, I'm going to follow your lead.
All right, cool. So like I said, at 14, and when I turned 16 and I was getting ready to graduate, let's say 16 into 17, my dad said, hey, you got 1 week to live here. I was shocked. I was like, he was like my dad was a no-nonsense person. It wasn't because I didn't do anything in particular, but he was like, you know what, in life, these are things that are just going to happen to you. Like, you're not going to be able to pay your bill. So today is your last week here at the apartment. So he always showcased. He was like, Fitima, that's so mean. But at 17, he was like, you got a week left to live here. I had just literally graduated. So from 14, working my business, I saved my money. I bought my first car. It was like $2,500. I was feeling great, because at 16 years old, I had my own ride. Most people, but I had to buy it myself. My dad didn't buy it for me. I was working for him. He also franchised my aunt's company called Bovanti Cosmetics out of Atlanta. And so I was working there. So I was working 2 jobs for him. And so at 17, he said, hey, Fitima, this is the end. And 1 week, you got to find your own spot. I was devastated. I had a notebook open. I'll never forget. And I was trying to calculate how much lights and rent and cable was, because I've never lived by myself. This is after I just graduated. And I went and talked to my dad. I'm like, Dad, why'd you do this? He said, Fatima, life is just going to happen to you. And so how are you going to prepare for it? So at that moment, I knew then, I said, when I step out of my father's house, I have to make it. There's no turning back. And I know several people are 25, 26, they went back home and stayed with their parents. I had made my mind up. Even though he had pissed me off beyond reason, he had a reason for putting me out there and saying, I want you to go ahead and make it, so you don't be, coming back home and asking Dad for money. I understood why later in life, but then I was pissed. And so when I left, I said, I'm never coming back home. So I'm never going to ask you for anything. And so when I left, here I am at 35 years old. I've never had to ask my dad for $1. I've never had to go back home. And he is thankful and he is grateful. We're the best of friends. And he was actually at that conference with me, working it. And he was so proud. So that was the other young man that you saw there. And so to this day, you know, my dad always say, Fatima, you've made me very proud. But that process and that journey, I felt my way to success, August, and I felt miserably, and I've lost over $100,000 in business of my own personal money. You know, me and my husband, to a point, you know, he's an engineer, and when he decided that, you know, he was just going to let me be an entrepreneur. Like I said, let me be an entrepreneur, because like I said, I lost $100,000. Here I am with no money in the bank. I'm down to 14 cents in my account. And he's like, Fatima, this is what you want to do. I'm going to support you. And when the real estate market hit in 2008, we lost 2 homes. And so here I am in my business. I'm in real estate school. I'm getting my insurance license. You know, like I said, I never wanted to be broke. So I'm like, okay, here's the opportunity. Well, I got laid off from my dad's business. And I worked in my dad's martial arts school up until I was about 26 years old. And so when the crisis hit in 2008, it really hit his business. He went from like 500 students to about 50. And so I was his first layoff. And I said, well, Dad, why'd you lay me off out of everybody else? I'm family. He said, because you're the only one that had the right mindset to go out there and go find work, or go out there and start your own business. And so, like I said, even though me and my dad kind of clash a lot, but it made sense, because when he let me go, I did go out there and go to real estate school. I did go out there and get my insurance license. I did go out there and I started a foster care agency where I took children in. And so I did all these great things. But I was still broke, August, because people don't understand. They see the entrepreneur lifestyle, they see the nice cars, they see the nice houses, and they don't realize, like, your bank account is really sitting on E, and I'm operating off faith. And my first chapter in my book talks about faith. I mean, that's really all I had. You know, I had the mindset of a tiger, of a dog trying to chase its tail. And, you know, my bank account was sitting on 14 cents. And here I am, you know, enrolling in school. I'm maxing out my credit card debt. And really, it was just faith. I asked God, I said, God, if this is meant for me, if business is meant for me, this is my 3rd company. Here I am at 21 now. So I started my cleaning company. I've been franchised with my dad, with my aunt's makeup company. That didn't work out. You know, it worked out for him, but not for me. We fell out. We fell out. And so then after having my children, and after being laid off with him, you know, in the martial arts, like I said, we were working 2 businesses together. I said, you know what, God, I don't know if business is for me. I really second guessed myself. I really did, August. And I think a lot of women out here, they second guess themselves, because when things don't work out and the money is not poured into your account like you want it to, or the clients are not coming in like you want them to, you do have a little self-doubt. But that's when my mindset had to kick in. And that's the one thing that I've learned at 14, is that you have to have the mental fortitude to go in business. You never get business. You're always getting business. And that's what people have to realize. You never understand business, because technology advances, people change, the economy changed, so many things changes on a daily basis. And I thought I had got business at 14, but I didn't. I didn't understand it. So I had to continue to educate myself, continue to put myself around quality people, continue to pray every day, and continue to master my own mindset and push myself past my own limitations. So here I am at 35 years old now, and I have just felt like I've arrived from 14 to 35 now. 20 years in business, I've actually got to a point where I can say, thank you, God, that I have made it. And so it took me 20 years. And most people think it happens overnight, and they say, oh, where'd this girl come from? She just popped up out of thin air. No, I didn't. I have been working since 14 years old. It took me 20 years to finally be ranked as one of the top coaches in the United States, in the country. And so that was a big deal to me. And this was just last week, August. You know what I mean? And so
the timing of everything. Yeah.
And I knew then at that moment, when I met you and when I met all the other phenomenal ladies, I said, God, I'll never be broke again. That's when I finally felt like I would always have and never lack. It took me 20 years to recognize that. It wasn't 14. It wasn't 20. It wasn't the other 10 companies that I started. It was literally just a few weeks ago that I realized, Fatima, you are everything you said you wanted to be. You know, you are at the position where, you know, you don't ever have to worry about being broke again. But it took me a long time to get there, and it took me a lot of losses and a lot of failures to get there. But I received it, because that's it shaped who I was and who I am today.
There's so much wrapped up in that. I'm probably going to have to literally, I'm more than likely, I'm going to do a recap of just the recap episode to this, because just all of that right there was so much. And so let me just go ahead and start just pulling out the things that I know that are hitting me at this moment. Ladies, for those of you that follow me, I've been telling you forever, you know, you quit opting into this 6 steps to 6 figures in 6 days, or even 6 months, even 6 years. You know, don't get so caught up on the jargon that is pulling at your heartstrings in a way that actually lacks integrity. You keep hearing it over and over and over again. I got a 7-figure sister that was just on here, and she lost so much money, denied building after building, not one, not two, but 6 times. It took her to the 7th building. And even after her reputation is established, now she has a different type of struggle that's seeping in. I say all the time that entrepreneurship is one of the most spiritually trying journeys that you can ever go on. And so I need you ladies to understand, number one, you're not crazy.
That's right.
You are not crazy. If you know what, if you tried, you put something out there and it didn't work, then you try again. I literally had a client say that to me the other day. They were like, okay, all right, so I was thinking about putting this out there, even though I put it out before, and and nobody opted in. I said, whoa, where did that comment even come from? My clients be like, I can't say nothing around August, because that lets me know where your subconscious is at. Don't nobody care because nobody opted in before. I'm like, you were just very vulnerable right now. And these are the kind of women that you all need to be around. You need to be around women that are vulnerable, not trying to show you a pretty ass necklace and a perfectly prim and proper hairdo and making sure that they pictures are perfectly polished. You need to be talking to women. So when it gets like that you realize that you can make it. And so I had to remind her, I said, baby girl, my first product, the only people that were at the webinar were me and my husband, my sound check guy. The second one, it was just a couple of women that were supporting me because I had paid into a mastermind. The third one, it was a bunch of people that signed up and a few people that showed up, but I still didn't sell anything. But I had to keep on having those moments that you said, this does not feel good to me. But God, I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And my first successful program that was online, what a lot of you would say is I only signed up 4 people. Hell, I went from doing it 3 times with nothing to something. And so I talk about how you have to celebrate the little things. And that first program was only $97 a month. And I was sitting there like, people won't even take this if I try to give it to them.
That's right.
But come full circle, now I've launched programs that have been for a shorter period of time, literally for a few months, and people have been like, let me get an early bird special to pay $4,000 a pop. But you couldn't have told me back then when nobody signed up that is something that would happen to me. That's okay, so you guys, you're not crazy. You got to endure. She started multiple businesses, but if you're solid and you're grounded, you may not start multiple businesses, but you will start multiple facets because you're pursuing multiple streams. You're trying to get a breakthrough some kind of way. And you know what? You might put out something today and people will flock to it like bees to honey. 2, 3, 4 months from now, you may launch something and get crickets because like you said, the market is ever changing. Maybe you read something wrong. Maybe it was the timing. Maybe it was the title. But at the end of the day, if it's embedded in your spirit, eventually the universe is going to bring things to you at the perfect time. The last thing I'm going to say is that it's so easy. Come on, y'all. The name of the podcast is Real Women Don't Bitch. It is always easy to find a focal point for anger. Yeah, you might didn't feel good, but no matter how you felt, you still pushed.
That's
Your father made you very uncomfortable. Once again, we have some similar parallels. My father, I lived with my grandmother the majority of my life, but by my junior year, my grandmother sent me to my dad. By my senior year, he was like, you're not living here. And he was going to send me to my mom, who had some issues that I didn't want to live in her household. So my senior year in high school, I was going and transferring all of the documents because I lived with my boyfriend, had to get a job, started buying soap, tissue, tampons, and all of that stuff. And from there, that's where my journey began, because after him, I would eventually end up going to, I actually lived in a homeless shelter for 3 months because I was pregnant. It was the only way that I could get on Section 8 because I didn't want to live in a home where my gang bringing, drug selling brothers with my mother. My grandma wasn't going to let me come back. My dad wasn't going to let me come back. Life was happening to me. And I had to do whatever it was that I could do. And so here I am now at 42, but I haven't had to say, Dad, you know, if you don't help me, then I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. And I resented my father for a very long time. But when I look back over my life and I look at a lot of the things that he didn't do for me, even when I lived with him, it made me the beast that I am. And there has to be a relentless nature to your mindset. Are you really called to do what you want to do? Do you really want to do what you say you want to do? Because elevation is imperative. You took charge of your mind. So everybody that's listening, where are you at? Where are you at? What are you thinking? What's your self-talk? Not no money. I'm a money magnet. Money come to me. I'm, you know, not affirmations that someone told you should say. But like, damn, I feel like shit, but I got to keep on going. I have got to do this. I feel like business is not for me, but something obviously hit your spirit and God said something to you where he was like, no, yes, it is. And you're like, oh, but with every tear or every piece of anger, you kept on going. And after 20 years of business, you just now hit a pinnacle, an epiphany, a point. So, so come on, take it back. Look. Ladies, there's so much motivation that's wrapped up in here. I gotta calm down because I don't want, this is your spotlight. You know you're filling them up. You're filling them up. So here you are now. Here you are now, where you are doing what you're doing. Talk to the ladies.
Well, what I'm doing now, working with women all over the globe, my life purpose now is to impact 10 million women, to transform their mindset and to transform their business and transform their life. And so, when growing up, with my dad, and I haven't really told you what happened to me, what inspired my dad to push me, because a lot of people say, Fatima, your dad was mean, but if they knew the reason behind why my dad did what he did, because of life, when life happened to me, it's not so bad when you hear the whole entire story. But here I am now, sitting here at my home office. And the other day I was just checking out in the grocery line. I said, God, and the young man, he said, why do you need 5 toilet plungers? And I'm thinking like, you know what, God, I went from worrying about having to now, having 5 bathrooms that I got to clean. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking like, it happened right in front of my face. Like it just happened to me yesterday. Literally, I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, you know what? Life could be so much worse. And, I'm thinking like, I have 5 freaking bathrooms to clean in this house, and so from going to that 14-year-old girl to going to the military, to not having, to losing my homes, to me and my husband actually just been able to actually purchase our first home last year, again, after foreclosure and bankruptcy, after 2008, August. That's a long time for someone to put you in the in a bucket and say, you know what, you can't be a homeowner right now because things happen, life happened to us. So we just bought our first house, 3 years ago, and so we rented. We had nice homes and luxury homes, but to be able to own again was just a big accomplishment for me and my husband, so after the real estate market. So here I am. My goal is to be as transparent as I can, to be the best transformational speaker, success coach to women, to put them in whatever position they want. I recognize that not everybody want to be in business, and that's okay. But what I do need you to recognize is that you are not by yourself, and that you have to have a fighter's mentality, and that you have to have a don't give up mentality, and that you have to have a no excuse, zero tolerance mentality, that you have to get into a point where you're in survival mode. And this is it, like life only happens one time. You're only on the planet Earth one time. You only come through the universe one time. So what you gonna do? And I never wanted to be at my bedside and all my dreams and my goals and my aspirations are sitting there saying, Fatima, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, why didn't you? That will never be me, and that should never be any of the ladies listen to this podcast or anywhere in the world. You should always make sure when you lay your head down for that final rest, that you did everything on this planet Earth that you possibly could do. Win, lose, or fail, or draw, it doesn't matter. But the fact is that you stepped out there and you tried. If anyone takes anything away from me today, is that never ever underestimate your ability and your talent. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. You can realize, I tell people I'm the biggest and baddest fish that comes out there when it comes to coaching. It doesn't matter. No one gave me that title. I gave myself that title because you know what? I am who I am. I don't need anyone to give me accolades or titles, but I know what I've been through. I read over 300 books 3 times each. I've actually put myself in this position. Nobody awarded me top super coach. It took a lot of hard work and dedication. But if you understand that hard work is part of business. Hard work is a part of success. Whether you want to be in business or not, it does not matter. But you have to get to a point in your life where you say, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you say. You know, you can't tell me nothing when it comes to my goals and dreams, August. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You have all the naysayers in the world. You can pour any type of negative. You can pour acid on my business, whatever. I'm going to rebuild. And I'm going to keep rebuilding because that's what I'm here for. You know, I'm going to always leave a legacy and I'm going to build an empire for my children. So that's who I am. It's not about all the money and the glory. And you're right. So many people get caught up in the money. Money is not even half of the battle when you get to business. If everyone just had a plate like Donald Trump and just invest in their business, hell, he went through bankruptcy 9 times. What started with $14 million in their business? So don't tell me that money solves all the problems. It doesn't. You know, you have to get to the point where you understand your craft and people buy from who they like, love, and trust, and who they understand, who put the work in. And that's what I've recognized. I put the work in. So it's not time that I started getting paid, you know, for what I do, you know, at the price that I'm charging for what I do. And actually, I'm kind of generous too with my prices, August, I tell people. So because I want every woman to be able to afford to come to my coaching practice. But, you know, I'm just thinking about all the things, and it's very, very emotional because, you know, like I said, I'm looking around my house, I'm looking at my children, and I'm just so thankful because it was one point where, you know, I'll never forget my daughter's 6-year-old birthday party. We couldn't even buy candles for her birthday cake. We couldn't even afford a box cake. Like I said, I was at the point where I had 14 cents in my bank account, and I remember looking, and it was the first time in my life at the age of 24 that I had to call my sister and say, you know what, can you help me buy a cake? And she's like, well, don't you run a business? I said, you'd be surprised. We lived in this nice house. We had 4 cars in the driveway. And I'm like, you guys, those are all, you know, on paper, we may look like we have $1 million, but we don't have $1 million in a bank account. That's the reality. And so people started prejudging us. You know, they didn't, you know, oh, y'all don't need help. Y'all are good. And it's like, you know, don't discount people because what they have, you know, because people could have built things when things were great. You know what I mean? And then, you know, of course, you don't just walk away because, you know, of course, your business is not thrive. You just walk away from your house and sell stuff. No, you try to keep what you built. But, you know, the reality is that you don't let false premonition influence you. I see people on Facebook all the time and they're flashing things. Don't get wrapped up in the woo-ha and the whoa-whoa, like what most people would say. It's not what you think it is. You know, and people that have these luxury cars and nice homes, you'd be surprised what they're going through behind the scenes. You know, people didn't know we didn't have. People didn't know that, you know, I had 14 cents in my bank account, you know, and I'm still rocking my nice designer stuff. You'd be real surprised because it's a facade and an image that people are looking for. And I got to the point where I didn't care. I downsized my car. I downsized our house. I downsized our life. I mean, everything. I said, you know what? I don't care about a 5,000 square foot house anymore. You know, we went to almost like a townhouse. I said, but what happened to your nice house? If you want to pay for it, great, but we're not paying for that. Those are luxury things. And what I always said to myself, I said, God, I wrote it in my book. I said, if I got it one time, I can get it again. It didn't matter. And so at that point, when I realized that the greatest real estate that I have is between my 2 ears, and that the knowledge that I gained is in between my 2 ears. Once I built it, no one can ever take it away from me. I said, so God, take it all. I had to learn how to live on a little bit so I could have a lot later. And so here I am. The little bit passed, and here I am with a whole lot. I got more on my plate than I can eat now. And I thank God for that every day. Seriously.
Did y'all catch that? 300 books 3 times. 300 books 3 times. That's a fortified mindset right there. I mean, I've heard everything you said. I'm going to come back and address something with the pricing, the sacrifice, and with the struggles. When you said you were going to be transparent, I felt your spirit when I met you, but I just literally want to reiterate. Did you guys hear what this woman just said? She's not sugarcoating. No money in the bank. Filing bankruptcy. There are clients of mine when I went through that season that I was transparent and I told them. Now there's 2 things that's wrapped up in there, because see, a lot of you are not stepping into position. You're not owning your authority because you're judging yourself based off of those material possessions. See, the material possessions or the lack thereof have to do with whether or not you were taught budgeting and, you know, different stuff like that. But that has nothing to do with the expertise that's in your brain. And so one of the things that I never did to myself is like, oh my God, I'm sitting over here broke and I don't have any money, but I'm going to tell somebody else what they need to do with their business. But wait, I've done this and I know what I'm doing, and I know the vision and the foresight. I literally help people close packages that I wasn't even selling yet. I'm like, I didn't help somebody sell a $10,000 package. I don't have a $10,000 package, because when I say I know sales, I know that I know sales. And so whatever it is that I was doing, I still stepped into position. But you know what? We had to go through those same things, and we were downsized. And there were times when people didn't know that the only thing that we had was a 1-bedroom. We like, these children are little. And you know what? If people only knew where we were when we were in Houston with a little bitty apartment, and all people saw was August just beasting her business. And I wasn't even necessarily doing the glam thing, but I was there and I was showing up. And some of them, they eventually found out, because I started doing it and talking about it in my live videos. But I would come in and I was live streaming. Here's your nugget. Here's your tip for the day. Come join my group. I got this package offer. And all the while, this is what I was doing. Okay, let me cut off this Uber app real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, this your girl showing up. It's August Green. Okay, cut the app back on and drive. Because that's what I had to do, because if we didn't do it, then we weren't going to have the money to pay the rent, because the business wasn't profitable enough to get us there. That's right. I was in the city with no friends, with no family. So it wasn't take the kids over to grandma's house or auntie's house, your cousin, your sister, somebody was going to babysit for you. My babies was in a car with me. And I felt guilty, because what kid is supposed to be sitting down that long? They need to be in the park. And that's what we had to do sometimes. We would be like, okay, well, we're going to stop Ubering and I'm going to take them out, and we're going to stretch our legs and we're going to go in this park and get the kids out there. And so no matter what you do, keep building. No matter what you do, keep showing up, because you said after all the work, you after all of the sowing, eventually there had to be a harvest that you were going to reap. That's a law. That's a law. And when you get into that position and you understand that this is fine, it's the law is as proven as gravity, then some of you will stop restarting, because every time you restart, you set yourself back. We're not talking about failing forward. That's not what I'm talking about. Right. You started some businesses, they did work, they didn't work. You restarted something new. But some of you all, you're out here and you're showing up and you're like, oh, well, I think I need to revamp my business. I need to revamp my brand. You disappear. But every time you disappear, subconsciously, you show another woman instability. And if you are called to help another woman beast and build through this grind of entrepreneurship, then you have to stand even when you don't feel like standing. To whom much is given, much is required. And so And look, I changed my name about 17 times as I was evolving. I was like, yeah, I'm your life coach. I'm your life coach for entrepreneurs. I'm a personal development coach. I'm a personal development coach that specializes in, you know, the personal, professional, and spiritual aspects of life. I'm a personal development coach and business strategist. I'm a personal development coach and business strategist plus sales coach. I'm a business strategist. Who cares? Look, because I was going to figure this online thing out one way or another.
But that's what you got to do, though. You know what I'm saying? In business, if you're not changing and evolving, and people have to see that. And you know what? I know people thought I was crazy. They're like, Fitima, you know, what the business you starting now? You guys are poor. You're like, what you doing now? What you into now? And so you're like, oh, God, I got to release to the world and tell them what I'm doing now. But the funny part is about those same people that asked me that same question, they're hitting my phone up and say, you know what, I should have stuck by you, or I should have. Now can I coach with you? You know, so back then it was embarrassing to be like, oh, I'm switching gears again. I'm switching gears. But one thing that remained consistent with me is that I never stopped educating people how to be a better you. And so, you know, even with my social media, you know, all the way dating back to, you know, 15, 16, if you could find anything, everything was about motivation, empowerment. So that has never changed. Like you said, the titles might have changed. You know, I'm this, now I'm a business growth strategist. Next year, who knows? You know what I mean? I just may just be top coach, and that's what I'm gonna stick with. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. And I realize it's not about the titles, it's about the results that you produce.
Oh, wait a minute. Please. Because you on a roll, but that you said something that triggered me. I gotta hit that point. Ladies, you know that you've graduated when you can stand and be next to somebody else that has a throne. Because I needed to be understood that some of you, the reason why you're not getting where you need to go is because you still operate from a scarcity mindset. And so you can't even have the proper connections with people and start elevating your circle. There goes that thing word again, y'all. Elevate, because you got to make sure that you don't miss anything. But you can't miss anything that's yours. When I met you, I knew who you were. I knew what you were about. I asked silly questions. I was funny. I laughed with you. I look, and I perused the book a little bit. I honestly already knew. I was like, oh, this is around the lines of the book that I purchased, but I wanted to at least get to know you. But I got a feel for you. But I'm like, I need you on my podcast. We do something we have some overlapping things, but then we also do some very different things. I could be like, no, I don't know if I want on my podcast now, because she get to talking and they get to listening to her. People might decide they want to work with Miss Miller. I want to be over here with Mrs. Crenshaw. Look, bump that. Because everybody's not meant for me to serve, and no matter how much you may love this podcast, and no matter how much it may be fueling or feeding you, there is still some void that prevents you from moving forward with me. And it doesn't mean that you think that I'm a bad person, but you don't know, but that gut reflex is not there to do it. But pulling another sister on here that has something similar to offer, there might have been something extra that she said, yeah, see, August said she did this, and I don't need that. But Fitima says she does this, and ooh, that's the missing piece. And so, yes, she's sitting there talking about she the top coach. When y'all heard the introduction, I said I'm the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs. We can be #1.
And like we said, though, August, we gave ourselves those titles.
Yeah, hello? He gave
if I don't think I'm #1, then who will?
Exactly. And so when I talked to the ladies, I did a lot of episodes last season talking about this whole thing about collaboration over competition. And I'm like, you know what? Collaboration is its finest at its core. But a lot of times the psyche of women when it comes to collaborating is still selfish. Oh, I want to get on somebody else's platform so I can have access. You know, I want to do something so it'll help me grow, instead of going into a collaborative experience saying, what do I have to bring to the table that's going to make this an advantageous venture? That's how you're supposed to be thinking, which means you got to have a mindset that says I'm #1. But a lot of women won't do that because we too busy. I understand the phrase, we don't compete, we collaborate. But in business, there needs to be healthy competition. I'm not really competing with you, but at the same time, you got to be able to say I'm the best.
But you know what? When I met you at the conference, the first thing I thought about, and you know, like you said, real, recognizing real, is that I knew you wouldn't be a client that coached with me, but I knew you would be a person that we could collaborate together. So I think recognizing who's going to do business with you and the people that are going to join forces with you to actually implement something into the world and create a platform. And when you hit me up, it was exactly what I felt in my spirit. I was like, you know what? She's going to be a person that coached with me, but you know what? She's going to be a person I would love to collaborate with. And we would do some crazy seminars and workshops together and really go full force. And like you said, it's somebody for everybody. And I don't try to coach everybody. Like I said, I only take 25 people in my coaching practice a year because I can't coach everybody. And it's very time consuming. I got too many things in my hand. But when I met you, I was like, you know what? She's not my type of client, but you know what? She's the type of person I can do business with. And that's the most important thing as women, recognizing that not everybody wants the tea that you're selling. You know what I mean? Or not, they don't want the recipe that you put together. And that's okay, but doesn't mean that you can't work with that person. So figure out your angle, figure out what, like you said, what they bring to the table, and collaborate. So I know that we probably could collaborate on a book together. We could actually do a summit together. We could actually do a workshop together. And to me, that's more granular than actually becoming a client, because clients only stay for a little while. But these type of relationships, they last for a lifetime. And so we make money all across the globe together.
And the reason why it was able to be that way is because both of us just came up like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. And so I'm always making sure that I'm on the grind to give the best version of me. I could already see that you were already on the grind to always give the best version of you. And that allowed us to be in a headspace with each other. And you did. You said the word collaborate multiple times. And I was like, this sister's cold-blooded. I got her. I feel her. Okay. And so we gonna do something, and I'm gonna make sure I stay in touch. And shortly after, I'm sitting there putting out the, you know, post saying who wants to be a guest speaker, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a couple people that I know that I want to be guest speakers because I know that you have something powerful to bring to the table. And so some of you, your missing key for your elevation is the synergistic quality of being in the presence of another like-minded individual.
That's right.
Because, see, people are coming for the experience, and when they get a piece of the experience, when they decide they want to go to that next level of elevation, when you collaborate with somebody, you've given them options. You've opened up another threshold. And some of you, what you need to be doing is figuring out how to get your ish together so that you could be the person that's opening some doors from some people.
That's right.
Because the very thing that you're looking for may be the very thing that you need to provide in order for your business to get to the next level. Woman, you said so much and you were talking. I just want you to know I got the title for your podcast while you were speaking. You said never underestimate your ability. Mm-hmm. And when you said that, I said, yes, that's the core of what this whole podcast interview has been about. Ladies, don't underestimate your abilities. Get around right people. Educate yourself. Read books. See what's possible. Some of you can't get where you're going because you're trying to hold on to material possessions. If you got it once, you can get it again. Some things you need to let go of. One last thing, and then I want you to tell them, you know, how they stay connected with you, and let them know if you have an opt-in or offer or anything.
Okay.
But look, and when I said all of that for 2 seconds, I lost my train of thought. Now, look,
it's all good. At least you know it's real.
So I tell
no
people,
free interviews for this podcast. It's just straight real.
Look, and for the people that get to see some of the interviews on video, it's like, oh, really? So that's what happened? It's like, yeah, blooper.
Yeah. But you know what? It's authentic. That's what people want to see. It's reality. You know, this is our reality, you know. So you're in Atlanta. I'm over here in North Carolina. We're able to do a wonderful podcast and tell people about both of our struggles. I learned so much about you on the podcast today. And even though I respected you when I first met you, even more respect is there for you. And anything I can do for you, August, I'm here, seriously. So, you know, and I hope other women take exactly what you said. Is sometimes you're waiting for God to open up a door for you, or somebody else open up a door for you. And that is so key. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Sometimes you got to create your own platform. And that right there gave me goosebumps. Because I'm like, you know what? Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Yeah. Go in there and start creating your own recipe for success. Start going there and doing what you need to do. I mean, like you said, I could have waited all day for this to be my first interview on somebody's podcast. Like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And this is going to bring me all my influx of clients. But no, the reality is that, you know, no, I had to put some work in to get to this point. You know what I mean? And so, and they're going to have to put some work in too. And no matter what you're doing, you know, even if you're not on somebody's podcast, to even get to this point, 20 years later, you know what I mean? People weren't asking me 15 years ago, can you be on my podcast? No. Even so, you know, they're like, oh, now I'm getting like, oh, can you do my podcast? Something like, wow, this is amazing. But then I had to realize and say, you know what? No, Fatima, you put in the work. Yes. I put in some serious work. I wanted that conference playing around. I was coaching. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I wasn't worried about who was making more money or who had the designer shoes. No, I came there to work. And I don't want people to understand, no matter how long you've been in business, or, you know, you still have to put in the same level of work when you started. Don't ever get to a point in your life where you're complacent, where you feel like you don't have to keep serving people. You don't have to keep serving people on the level that you started serving. Don't ever water down your business. Don't ever water down your accomplishments. Don't ever water down the services that you offer and think that people will still value you. Always bring it. The next time, bring it even harder than you brought it last time. So every time I coach, I make sure I bring something new to the table every time. I don't ever get complacent thinking that, oh, my clients love me so much they won't go out there and hire somebody else. No, I got to be the best all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Even sometimes, because as an African-American woman, you know, we're judged even harder than everybody else. And, you know, so I have to coach different than everybody else. Because of our, you know, because as a female, because as a black female, may not look like, you know, freckles and stuff. And they're like, yeah, black August. Yeah, I am.
She's a sister, y'all. And I, while you were talking, I got my train of thought back. And you said something. You said, you know, honestly, August, I'm very generous, you know, with my pricing. And I talk to people that follow me about that all the time, about really recognizing what you're getting versus
Right.
what you're investing, because
Right.
that's a place where I'm at too. And a lot of it has to do with understanding the struggle.
That's right.
I'm not going to, like you said, water down who I am. I'm not going to sell myself short, but I am always looking for innovative ways to create something that's going to give women what they need, with respect to the level of your investment, but nevertheless to always create something that will have somebody saying, wow, I never thought I would experience something like this. Always
Right.
making sure that they are having an exceptional experience. And so a lot of you so busy trying to calculate the cost and what you think something is, and based on what you've seen with someone else, without regard to her price, without saying anything in regards to what her pricing structure actually is, because she has various offers out there. Don't sleep on speaking to this woman, because when somebody says something like that, then you need to have faith to be able to jump, to take a move. When someone who's been through what she's been through, to still have that level of compassion and say that I have something to offer, and I'm also generous in the way that I'm doing it. Don't sleep on y'all blessing, y'all. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. So tell them where to find you. Of course, the links will be on the website, so you don't have to say the letters in the URL. So you guys know that you can go to the featured speakers tab at realwomendon'tbitchpodcast.com to get her information, links to websites and all of that. But still tell them, where to find you, social media, your bid, everything. Just spill it out.
Cool. All right, cool. So if you guys want to find me on Instagram, everything is uniform. It's I am Fitima Miller. Twitter, I am Fitima Miller. YouTube, Fitima Miller YouTube channel. Website, FatimaMiller.com. Also, like I was just telling Miss August, I just started a women's success academy called WOO, Women Help and Empower Women, WHEW, like woo, like that. You
I like that.
So you could go to woofm.com, and then you can kind of see some of the packages that I have, because it's an online portal. I recognize that not every woman can do coaching, but it's a way to kind of have access to all of my material in an online platform, no matter where you are in the globe, since I only can take 25 clients at a time. So WOO is another way for you to have access to me. And I would just tell people, before you even contact me, before you even try to think about coaching, kind of understand who I am and how I coach. And that's important, because this book right here, even if you never called me a day of your life, getting this book, Entrepreneurship, The Path to Prosperity, it's 150 pages of no fluff. I wrote it myself. I didn't have a ghostwriter. And it's really 10 secrets into business, 10 secrets that I learned about business. And like I said, chapter 1 talks about having faith. I think all things, if you want anything in life, you got to have faith. And so I read a lot of books. I've been to a lot of conferences, and I walked out just as dumb as I walked in, because they weren't trying to sell me. They weren't trying to teach me anything. And so in that book, my goal is to really educate you before you go into business, as you grow your business, and before you close your business. Because, anything is savable, if that's even a word, So a lot of people think I don't need to be in this business. But before you think about walking away from your business, just read the book. That's all I require people. That's a $20 investment. You don't have to do coaching or anything. You don't have to hire me as a speaker. That book alone, I'm telling you, when I poured my heart and soul, it's everything that I learned about business. And it's not going to teach you how to make a million, $1 $4 but what it is going to teach us the mental fortitude that you need to have in business, because that's one thing people never teach you. When this situation arises, how are you going to act? How are you going to take that in? And failure is not who you are. I'm saying? It's failure is something that you go through. And I think that's the biggest thing, if I can teach people, when they connect with me. Don't internalize failure, because failure happens to all of us. So don't take it personal. Failure is not a part of your character. It's just something that happens to us all. And life will tell you how many times you have to fail before you be successful. That's up to the gods and the universe and infinite intelligence to let you know when success is deemed for you. And some of you, and I'll just be real, when you find me, I'm going to tell you, business and wealth is not in your path. And sometimes you just got to understand that too. God can't make everybody billionaires. And I recognize that. And one day I had to kind of sit down and realize, maybe I'm just only meant to just teach people and educate people. And maybe I'm not designed to be a billionaire like Bill Gates. And people say to me, you're a mindset coach. Why would you say that? The reality is that I'm here for a different purpose. I have clients that make more money than me after coaching with me. And I have to be okay with that. I got a girl after coaching with me made $50,000 in 4 months, walked off her job at McDonald's. And I'm like, girl, I ain't made $50,000 in 4 months. Like, what's real? So the reality is that, just produce results for people. find me. You find me on FatimaMiller.com. Just Google my name. I pop up all my social media. Follow me personally on my Facebook page. It doesn't really matter. I love everybody. I love all the women. I'm here to inspire you all. Make sure you check August out. Don't call me first without calling her.
I'm a pre-screen.
No, she didn't tell me to say that. No, seriously, make sure,
I did.
No, I did. She didn't pay me to say that, y'all. Seriously, no. But make sure you follow her as well and follow me as well. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me. And that's one thing I forgot to tell you, August, and that was that one key missing piece that I want to share with everybody.
Well, go ahead.
I don't want you guys thinking that my dad was a bad guy, because he'll say to the team, why don't you tell him what really happened? So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. And my mom and dad had a really great marriage from the time I was maybe 1 year old to about 5 years old, and then they broke up and they got divorced.
Okay.
And then she went to a club one night and she brought a man home, and this man never left. But this man, he abused our whole entire family sexually for years, from first grade to fifth grade. And so by the time my dad found out in fifth grade, it wasn't because I told him, it was because I was drawing these pictures in class and they were inappropriate. My teacher said, let me bring social services in here to check out these drawings this girl is drawing. So when I went to live with my dad, he looked at me and he said, Fitima, from this point on, you will never be a broken woman. I will not release you out into the world as a broken woman. And from that day, from the time I was 8 until this time now, my dad calls me every day for wealth training. He calls me every day for mindset, because that was a life-changing moment from first grade to fifth grade, to be sexually abused almost every day of your life. And some of my family members didn't make it. I have a brother that lives a life of crime. I had a sister that's deceased because a lot of things didn't work out for them in their favor. So a lot of my friends, when they see what I'm doing now, they say, Fatima, how can you inspire people, motivate people, because people like you weren't supposed to make it? I hear that all the time, and that is crazy to me. And I, even for myself, coming from the background that I did, even hell, I thought I wasn't supposed to make it. So many people say, you know what, Fatima, you weren't supposed to make it as far as you made it in business. You weren't supposed to make it as far as you made it in life. And I'm not saying that to be rude. They're just saying that, we're so proud of you because you were such a broken person at one time in your life. And so my dad, when he took me in, he said, Fatima, never again will you have excuses or be broken. And the best revenge you can give anyone who took your innocence or took anything from you is a revenge of success. And from that day forward, I made a promise to my dad. I made a promise to the universe that no one would ever break me again, that I would never contemplate, suicide or anything, because I was so broken. And so because I went through my experiences, I'm able to pay it forward to somebody else. And I'm going to walk into my kitchen so I can make sure my laptop doesn't cut off during my interview.
Oh, Lord. So what they don't know is that he didn't just toss you to the wind. He fortified you.
That's right. And so I think that's important for people to understand, is that my dad, he said to me, I'm here to make you stronger. I'm not here to make sure that you are, I'm going to turn it this way. This is a real interview. Look at that.
Look.
Hey, guys.
Hey, look, like we said, this is authentic. This is off the cuff. This is just real. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I do, because you know what? Somebody that's listening has some parallels and some similar parts to that story. You may not have agreed with the methodologies all the time, but someone was working and blessing you to fortify you and to strengthen you. And no matter where you come from, you guys thought that was her biggest struggle, her dad putting her out. No, her dad worked her through an even bigger struggle.
That's right. He did.
So yeah, I get I know what people mean when they say you weren't supposed to make it, but we know that ultimately what they're saying is that you're special.
That's right.
Because most people in your situation don't. But I have a saying is that people that are able to rebound from radical situations and to do it faster than most, like you said, there's a purpose and there's a call on your life. And I believe that those kind of individuals have a responsibility and an obligation to serve people, to help them through that. And so when certain people hear certain aspects of my story, there are things that I rebounded from very quickly. And that I was my bounce back factor is really, really high. And like you said, the mental conditioning that's needed to help someone else get there, it's not because of something that someone taught us. We actually worked through this, which gives us a layer of compassion. You have compassion and an ability to connect with the women that you serve because of what you've been through. So
That's right.
you're going to require that they stop faking and that they show up and that they do what they have to do. And you're also going to love them through it, but you're not going to cut them any slack, because you know what? The entrepreneurial journey is not going to cut anybody any slack.
It sure ain't. There's no easy elevator upstairs to success. I mean, you really have to jump off the ledge without a parachute and hope that you hit solid ground without breaking limbs. And I've jumped off plenty of cliffs, and I've got plenty of daggers in my back, but here I am still walking. So, and I'm here to tell people my story. I'm just so excited, but you know, and I don't share that story often with people, but I think it's very important for people to understand that, you know, you don't, like, I'm not entitled. You know what I mean? You know, like, we're not entitled in business. You know, business didn't have to happen for me, but you know, it did because I stuck with it. Success didn't happen for me because I just wanted it. It's because, you know, like you said, I went through a lot, and I really, really, really deep down in my soul had a burning desire to be successful. You know, it was part of it became a spiritual thing for me. Like, it was to the point that I could taste success on my tongue, that I wanted it so bad. At that moment, when my dad picked me up from my mom's house, and I looked back over my shoulder, and my dad said, never look back ever again. And he said, that's not where you're supposed to be at. You know, people who love you don't allow you to get hurt. But that was hard for me as a child, because I'm like, you know, that's mom. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I learned at that point that I didn't just walk over bridges. I threw grenades on bridges that I would never want to cross again. And so, you know, and that's dealing with people in your life. There's people in your life currently that you sometimes have to throw a grenade on that relationship and just blow it up and just walk away. There's certain people that's just not there for you. And I tell people my coaching, you could be laying next to the person who's a SNIOP, as a person who's a dream stealer or killer, or, you know, or what I call the, people who just suck your life away, suck energy away. And through my life, I've learned that, you know, that certain people don't have your best interest, and to recognize those people early and do away with those people, you know, early. And so at that point, I realized that me and my mom would never have the same relationship ever again. Yeah. And that's very hard, because I see people with their moms, and I'm like, oh, that's so wonderful. But I had to recognize that, you know, that would never be my situation. But I knew I could be a better mom to my children. And through my coaching, I could really show people, you know, the type of, you know, because even coaching is all about just teaching people so many different things. You know, I teach business, but like you said, you have to really build a person up in your coaching practice, or in life in general, because there's some phenomenal women who, like you said, make 7 figures, but they're so defeated. And I think that's when a light bulb went off and said, you know what? It doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. If you don't have the self-esteem and the motivation and tenacity to overcome any adversity in your life, then you have nothing, you know? And so, and that's what it was. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, so you guys wouldn't think of, you know, it's like, oh, Tima's dad, but not even just that, but just really what drove me at 14 years old to start making money, to start my own business. Because, you know, I knew, you know, my sisters and brothers, I would have to go back for them eventually. I wanted to go back for them. Life didn't happen that way for me. But in my mind, I was going to go back and save everyone that was in the gutter. You know what I mean? So
I'm not even going to comment, because once again, that's another parallel for another reason. Because you heard me mention that going to be with my mom wasn't that. And I see the same things. And you don't see oh, look, you know, there's Lisa. I love her. I do. And I understand why, when she gave me up at 18 months, that was in God's plans and I was in the right place. But I don't have that quality of relationship. And I, for many years, tried to go back and get mine and save my siblings. But you heard me say gang banging, selling drugs, doing all that stuff. And I love them, and they're beautiful people, but our lives just don't run parallel. And so, but like she said, some relationships, you just got to throw a grenade on them, let them blow up and walk away. I think we can just leave that right there. I won't even add anything else to that. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for blessing. This is one of those things that many, many years down the line, when somebody comes and clicks on this, you're going to be in another venture. You're going to be somewhere basking in the ambiance, and they're going to be like, but is she still available? Because this interview is timeless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I know I went over my interview time, but thank you, August.
No, you're good. Look, you're good. The show, I go by my intuition. We go until we need to stop. Some people get things out in 35 minutes. Some of us get it out in we're just a little bit over an hour. We right there. It's all right, cool. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. This is one of those that I know that once you made it to the end, you were like, but wait, is there more? So hour or no hour, I don't know. We're gonna have to have you back. You know, we'll let them breathe for 2 seconds, because I ain't gonna even lie. I need to go and sit down and cool off myself. I got so much. No, not even cool off. I'm gonna absorb and see what comes from me, because sister, you have that synergy, the energy that was created here. Yeah, y'all. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, August. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch.podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless, signing out. Deuces!
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in